I met a man named Arthur last spring. He was 84 years old, and in one afternoon, he told me something that changed how I think about the time we have left. We were sitting on his porch. He had a woodworking bench in the corner, covered in sawdust, a half-finished birdhouse sitting on it. And he said to me, almost quietly, "You know, I started this too late, and the thing I should have quit, I held on to for 20 years. I didn't say anything at first. Sometimes, when an older person says something like that, the kindest thing you can do is just let it sit in the air for a moment." So we sat. A bird landed on the railing, looked at us, and left again. Then I asked him what he meant, and what he told me over the next hour, I've thought about nearly every day since. Let me start with the hobby he wished he'd quit. For most of his life, Arthur was a golfer, not because he loved it, because everyone he worked with golfed, because deals happened on the course, because that's what men of his generation and his position did on a Saturday. He told me he spent thousands of hours on golf courses, thousands, and when I asked him if he enjoyed it, he paused for a long time, and he said, "I enjoyed belonging. I never once enjoyed the game." That stopped me, because how many of us do that? Keep a hobby, a habit, a whole routine, not because it feeds us, but because it's what we've always done. Because quitting would feel like admitting something. Because everyone expects us to be the golfer, or the bridge player, or the one who watches the news for 3 hours every night. Arthur told me he actually got quite good at golf. Trophies, a low handicap, the whole thing. And that was almost the problem. The better I got, he said, the harder it was to admit I didn't want to be there. You don't walk away from something you're good at. People won't let you. He said the skill became a kind of cage. The more he won, the more Saturdays it cost him. So the day he turned 75, he quit golf completely, sold the clubs. And the strange thing, not one person from all those years on the course ever called to ask where he'd gone. 20 years of Saturdays, he said, and the friendships were only as deep as the fairway. He wasn't angry when he said it. That's what struck me most. He said it the way you'd talk about weather from a long time ago, just a fact about his life. They were good men, he said. We just never had anything real between us but the game, and when the game was gone, so were they. Now, I want to be careful here. Arthur wasn't bitter. He wasn't warning me against golf or bridge or anything else. His point was sharper than that. His point was this: after a certain age, you no longer have time to spend on things that only give you the appearance of a life. You need the real thing. So that brings me to the hobby he started too late. The one on the bench, woodworking. He picked it up at 79, 5 years ago. A neighbor was throwing out an old set of tools, and Arthur, on an impulse he couldn't explain, asked to keep them. He told me he almost didn't. The neighbor had the box out by the curb, and Arthur walked past it twice. I felt foolish, he said. An old man, rummaging through someone's trash for chisels he didn't know how to use. But on the third pass, he picked it up. That box, he said, turned out to be the best thing anyone ever gave me. And they were throwing it away. He started with a simple cutting board. It came out crooked. He made another, then a small box, then a shelf, then, eventually, the birdhouses. Dozens of them, which he gives away to anyone who visits. I asked if the first ones were any good. He laughed. really laughed the first time all afternoon. They were terrible, he said, genuinely awful. My wife, God rest her, used one as a doorstop for a year just so I wouldn't feel bad. But here's the thing nobody tells you, he said. Being bad at it was the best part. I hadn't been a beginner at anything in 50 years. I forgot how alive it feels. And here's what he said about the work itself. When I'm at that bench, I lose track of time completely. 3 hours feel like 20 minutes. I haven't felt that since I was a boy. There's a name for what Arthur described. Psychologists call it flow, the state where you're so absorbed in something that the self and the clock both disappear. And here's what the research says that matters for us. The capacity for flow doesn't decline with age. Your ability to lose yourself in something meaningful is just as strong at 84 as it was at 24. The only thing that changes is whether you give yourself permission to look for it. Arthur's regret wasn't that he aged. It was that he spent his best decades on a hobby that gave him belonging without joy and waited until 79 to find the one that gave him joy without needing anyone's approval at all. I'm not telling you golf was wrong, he said. For some men, it's the great love of their life. I'm telling you, mine was sitting in a toolbox at the end of a driveway for 79 years, and I nearly walked past it twice. So let me ask you the two questions Arthur's story left me with, because I think they matter more than any list of hobbies I could give you. First question, is there something you do, a hobby, a routine, a way you spend your Saturdays, that you keep only out of habit or obligation, or because it's who people expect you to be? And be honest, because Arthur held on to his for 20 years. Second question, is there something you've always been quietly curious about and haven't started because you told yourself it's too late? And I want to say something about that phrase, too late, because I hear it constantly from people in their 60s, their 70s, their 80s. It's too late for me to start. Arthur was 79. He got 5 years out of that toolbox, 5 years of the deepest joy of his life. Nobody in his family talks about the trophies now, but everyone has a birdhouse. Arthur was 79 when he picked up a chisel. He got 5 years of the deepest joy of his life out of a set of tools someone else was throwing away. He told me as I was leaving, don't wait for permission. Nobody's coming to give it to you. At some point, you just have to pick up the tools. Arthur passed away this winter, peacefully. There were 14 birdhouses in his workshop, finished, waiting to be given away. His daughter gave one to me. It's on my windowsill as I record this. She told me something at the service that I'll leave you with. She said in his last week he wasn't afraid. He just kept asking her to bring the sandpaper and a small piece of pine to his chair so his hands would have something to do. He was smoothing an edge, she said, right up until the end, not to finish anything, just because it felt good to be making something. So, whatever's been sitting in the back of your mind, the thing you keep saying you'll get to. This is me telling you what Arthur told me. Pick up the tools. Tell me in the comments what yours would be. I read every single one, and I'll see you in the next video.